Buongiorno a tutti.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Vicenza Oro September 2021. I am Marco Carniello, head of the Jewellery division of Italian Exhibition Group, and on behalf of our team, I would like to welcome you again and to thank you for being here in Vicenza. After 21 months, we finally have reopened our fair. This is an exceptional edition because we were able, and we're the first ones in Europe, we were able to have a live fair with real people coming to see it. 800 exhibitors, 70% of which are Italian, 30% of them come from 24 different countries in the world. So unfortunately, some could not come. From China, from Thailand, all our Asian friends, unfortunately, are not here with us today, but hopefully they will come next time. So this was not easy. We needed some courage, we needed good planning, and we needed our community. The community of Vicenza Oro that we regularly invite to debate about the hot topics of this industry, because the fair is not just a trade show. It is also for an exchange of ideas, concepts, culture. So we support the whole chain to promote the development of this industry, and our community is becoming more and more inclusive. And for the first time, we're organizing an event with Fairtrade, and we're very glad about that. So we are inviting new opinion leaders to join us. And Tessa, who is going to chair this meeting, is at Vicenza Oro for her first time. So our community is becoming more and more inclusive. We are including all the different parts of the value chain. For years, we have been promoting ethics and the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And every time we focus on a specific topic. So we have been talking about the world of jewelry in the past, but now we are starting upstream from gold, the raw material number one. So in this way, we can widen our vision as well. So thank you very much to Fairtrade and to our guests for disseminating more knowledge, more culture, and for helping us evolve. Thank you very much, and welcome once again. Thank you very much, Marco, and good afternoon to all of you. So you have already heard it. We are talking about ethical gold, a very trendy topic, so to say, because more and more attention is focused on environmental issues. Environmental and social sustainability has come to the foreground, and this green wave is transforming all production industries. So when we talk of the value chain of jewelry, the number one thing we have to focus on to understand social and environmental availability is raw materials. These raw materials are imported to Italy, coming from countries where, unfortunately, working conditions and environmental conditions are not safeguarded. This is why the ethical gold idea was born. And today we're trying to understand the motivations, the features, and the added value for the many Italian companies going this way and focusing on the processing of precious raw material into wonderful jewelry. This can be a big help for them. It is a communication issue as well. And Italy is a leader because Italy is used to creating quality 360 degrees. So we're talking of this topic together with Bragaglia, an artisanal jeweler who has created Maraismara. That's her own brand. Welcome, Mara. And we're also connected with Heidi Corilloclla. Hello, Heidi. So if you do not speak Spanish, grab a pair of these at the back of the room so that you will be able to follow the simultaneous translation in Italian and English. Welcome, Heidi. Let's see if the connection is working. Heidi is Field Officer Fairtrade, and she is connected with us from Peru. Can you hear us, Heidi? Good afternoon, I can hear you. Good afternoon to all of you. Well, here in Peru, I should say good morning, but it is a pleasure to be there with you. Can you hear me well? Yes, we can hear you very, very well, Heidi. So let's start from you, since we are connected very well. Could you please provide us with a snapshot of gold mining worldwide? I've read some data, and it looks as if 80% of world gold is extracted from large mines by large companies, where there is still a lot of work to do to reduce environmental impact. And however, workers' rights are safeguarded quite well. So 20% of the world gold is provided by small artisanal miners who often do not even have the right of mining, but they are allowed to mine nevertheless. And they certainly have a very high environmental impact. They do not have any rights. When they sell their gold, they're exploited. So there are many social and environmental issues related to this artisanal mining. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. So I am connected here from Peru, and I cannot but confirm that we also have many artisanal miners in our country. Illegal miners, I could even say. I'm talking about miners, and there are also other similar sectors, like small producers, who are not official at all. So there is a difference between informal mining activities, these artisanal mining activities, and the official ones. And the main difference is that the artisanal miners do not take care of the environment, work in very poor conditions, and these are totally illegal in our country, but there are many of them. But there's also another side of the medal. That is, there is a group of mining companies that are trying to regulate this industry. So we're supporting these groups. We're motivating them so that they become more legal, more official, so that they can mine in a responsible way. Well, yes, we have heard that 20% of world gold is extracted in the way you've just described it, providing jobs for 90% of the whole labor force in the mining industry. So small volumes, but a high number of workers. 40 million people producing a turnover of 150 million people. I'm sorry, 150 million people in the world live on artisanal mining. We're talking about a huge amount of people. Heidi, when I went to Bolivia, I saw these gold miners with their small boats, with little drilling machines. I don't know exactly what they were doing, but they were making really a lot of mess. They were destroying the riverbed, and there was a very high pollution, quicksilver pollution. So the environmental impact of this type of mining is very, very high. It's true. I mean, processes are totally inadequate, and it is miners and their families working in this artisanal way in areas that are environmentally critical, and they have a different view of the environment and of their work. These are groups of miners that really damage our industry. And for this reason, society is angry with them. And this is worrisome because their numbers are growing. This is an industry in which it is very easy to avoid controls. Therefore, we still have a lot of work to do. We know that it is a problem. It is a problem of pollution, environmental protection, child labor. There are many children working in this industry, the miners, but also their children. So it is an industry that is pretty worrisome and where we still have a lot of work to do. I have never visited Peru, unfortunately. Hopefully, I will be able to come and see you so that you can show me the whole value chain. But I've seen a similar situation in Brazil with artisanal miners mining in the rivers, in natural parks as well, causing a lot of environmental damage. So to conclude this, and then I will come back to you, Heidi, again. From an economical viewpoint, how much do these miners earn? In the artisanal industry, very often these families work on a daily basis. That is, they have a daily income. They are paid for their days of work. But many even put their life at stake. You know, it is a very unstable and dangerous type of activity. So maybe one day they find a few grams of gold, the following day they do not find anything, but they take on this risk when mining in this way. Maybe they find 2-3 grams a day, or they may find 0 gold. It's a very uncertain job, but nevertheless, they prefer to work in this way. This is what they've told me. They prefer to work in this way because other jobs, other activities do not provide them with the sufficient income. So it pays better to do this way. Of course, the rising price of gold promotes the expansion of this type of industry, unlike the agricultural industry, for instance, where products have completely different prices. Well, I can read here that they are paid 30% less than the market gold value, so they earn very little, they have no rights, they are not safeguarded. Children and women work as well. They destroy the environment. I mean, the jewelry you have given me for this event is Fairtrade jewelry, is that right? Anyway, all this can be avoided thanks to the Fairtrade efforts. I mean, you have started this a long time ago, and your jewelry is Fairtrade jewelry. Why? Well, there are many reasons for this. Even though when I started going this way, when I started processing gold, Fairtrade gold was for me the only option, and that was 2016 when I started. And Fairtrade, gold Fairtrade, was introduced on the market in 2011, actually. So in Italy, this started in 2016. 5 years later. So in 2016, I actually still ignored all what was happening, but I could imagine that because we're talking about precious, beautiful material that does not come from the lucky part of the world. So it is an issue of consistency. I wanted to create something that was beautiful, that could reflect the artisanal activity and the engineering and designing skills we love to celebrate, with the awareness that what I was creating was possible thanks to the use of material which was coming from a place where rights were respected. So gold is the #1 material for jewelry, and I wanted this gold to come from fair work. So together with Fairtrade, I've tried to understand more about the whole industry. Yes, because I can see that you use also pearls and other raw materials, so I'm sure that you've looked for the more ethical suppliers. Exactly, I've learned from Fairtrade, from the research that is made, from the standards that have been defined, and I've tried to apply this to other industries, to other value chains. And all what I've learned with gold, I have applied also to other materials. Thank you. I would like to ask you a couple of questions, also trying to anticipate the questions that our audience probably is thinking about. So you have a certificate? Yes, I have a certified workshop, and I can punch my jewelry with the Fairtrade brand. So the third punch on jewelry on top of the 2 classical ones. But of course, you also have to be a registered craftsman to have access to Fairtrade gold and to use Fairtrade gold. So, and you can communicate this as well. Yes, if you have the license, you can do that. But what about your customers? Do they see this as an added value? Absolutely. And this is what I say when I try to persuade other colleagues to follow me on this path, which is a beautiful one, full of satisfactions. But, I mean, I've never been using classical gold, RJC gold, I haven't gone through all that because I started straight away with Fairtrade gold. That's the only gold I know. But you can see that this is perceived as something positive and that your customers like this. Is that right? And maybe you obtain customers because of this reason. I do not buy gold because I know that it may come from a conflict area, for instance. Well, we keep talking about sustainability and traceability, but it is one thing to talk about this, to write reports, to write communications, and it is another thing to be able to provide your customers, collectors, and lovers with a product that has a positive, active impact. And Fairtrade gold cannot be compared with any other type of so-called ethical gold on the market. Heidi, how does your work develop? I mean, I can imagine that you have started trying to contact gold miners. You've probably met some of them. You have persuaded them to start working with Fairtrade. I believe that this has not been easy, but then, I mean, from the heart of Peru, how do we get the certified ethical gold in Vicenza? Well, in our country, as I was telling you before, we have many groups of miners who start on this path to be able to obtain a certificate. I mean, we had to increase awareness, first of all, the awareness of all these groups of miners. So we have worked very hard trying to contact these groups and make them aware of the importance of certified gold, which is responsible gold. It's a different type of gold. And in our country, we have a completely different situation in the sense that these groups have to work for several years before they become official. And once they become official and they're no longer artisan or informal, it may take also 10 years. And in our country, this miners are not always supported. So it is my task to make them aware of the environment so that their mining is responsible and produces gold complying with certain standards, where no children are laboring, where the environment is safeguarded, where there is an organization guaranteeing good working conditions. So this is my job, organizing these groups, starting from dissemination of knowledge and increasing the awareness so that they can meet all these criteria to safeguard the environment, to guarantee good working conditions, and to provide responsible gold without child labor. So I have to interact with these groups of miners. I love my job because it gives me also the possibility of supporting an industry which is often forgotten and neglected in my country. It doesn't have much recognition in Peru because we are talking of small miners, unlike big mining activities with big international mines. Well, for these small miners, you need to provide support. You need to take them by the hand and bring them to the rest of the world. Which is the difference, in practical terms, between being formal and informal? I mean, when they are formal, so to say, and official, they cannot be ousted from their areas, but of course they have to comply with certain standards. And what else? In our country, small mining activities are regulated by law. So you need certain permits to mine, to be a legal miner. So these small miners, to be able to mine gold officially, have to go through several processes. For instance, they have to demonstrate that they safeguard the environment, that they take specific measures, that they support the communities, that they are active officially in a specific area with a legal contract. And if they do not own the area, they need to have a contract with the communities in that area. So with all these permits, and they also have to produce a document describing their environmental impact. So they need to carry out an environmental study in their area. The area must be authorized for mining. It should not be a cultural heritage area. They need several permits to be able to mine officially in Peru. So all these studies and all these permits lead to an authorization so they can start mining legally. But there are some groups that do not comply with all these processes, and therefore these groups carry out informal or illegal mining. Fairtrade promotes legality and tries to make these mining groups official. So we only work with official legal groups, the ones that have complied with all these requirements that I've mentioned and have committed themselves to working in a legal way in my country. So apart from this, our standards and our rules strengthen this continuous improvement effort. Our standards are related to environmental protection, good practices, and we do not allow child labor. There are specific policies, environmental policies, human rights policies, gender equality policies, non-violence policies, the policy to prevent supporting armed groups, and all this actually strengthens these organizations.
Devi convincere What is more difficult in trying to persuade somebody to become more formal in his or her operation? Well, illegal miners do not see formality as an advantage. Do not consider that acting in a legal way can yield any advantage. But when we experience the certification that we grant, they can see it as an advantage. And in that case, also, they are granted better prices because gold would not be sold at brokers as intermediaries, but it would be sold at an ethical price. So that would grant as an advantage the possibility to sell one's gold to a constant purchaser, because oftentimes they just sell gold to anybody offering any money to them. So the fact of finding constant buyers interested in buying fair gold, in recognizing their effort, in acknowledging their effort, people who are ready to pay a premium price, well, then that is considered as an advantage. Then they are ready to invest in projects, because we know that mining gold is not easy, and it is also quite expensive in that it requires major investments. This premium price basically enables an improvement of conditions. Mining gold in my country is pretty extensive, and it requires important investments. The fact that getting a premium price for the old mine obviously is very important. Illegal miners can consider certification as an opportunity because they receive help, support, premium price, the fact of basically finding a better purchaser. Well, oftentimes, obviously, legal or formal markets are more expensive. Probably it costs more. Yes, it does cost more, but what I'd like to think is that perhaps the value that is attached to the value is much bigger. I never check the daily price of gold. Consumers are ready to pay a premium price for certified products. So basically, I believe that your consumers are ready to pay a premium price to have something which is, again, sustainable in terms of social and environmental issues. Some 80% of consumers apparently are ready to pay certified products. So it is a high time where, again, sensitivity is shown. Consumers are there ready to pay an extra price, a premium price for certified products. Well, Tessa, we are living actually a crucial time because there's the strong request, that there's the higher degree of sensitivity. But if the industry doesn't come up with a certified alternative, then we run the risk of losing this major opportunity. We are now in a position to come up with a certified product because this is a time and opportunity that we cannot miss. Some 20 years ago, another industry, that of diamonds, basically went through the same opportunity. Thank you very much for your very appropriate consideration. How much importance does your company attach to fair gold? Well, actually, we owe it all. My company is actually only based on fair gold. Without fair gold, I wouldn't be running my company. I wouldn't be a successful creator. You know, the thing is that I am asked to explain what happens to the gold as is mined. I have been asked many things about what happens through the pipeline. So people, consumers, are not just interested in what happens at superficial level. People, buyers, are sometimes interested also in the gray areas. Well, our consumers are always more focused. We know that the greater generation is growing. They're going to become jewel consumers themselves, and possibly they can be the target one when it comes to sustainable issues from the social and environmental point of view. You're a small craftsman, and do you think, craftswoman actually, do you think it difficult to work with certified gold? It is not difficult at all. I don't even, I started from scratch actually, and I started with fair gold, and this is absolutely feasible. One of the reasons why I'm talking about fair trade and for gold is to give this industry a chance actually. Medium-sized and small-sized businesses can actually work with fair gold. I would like to everybody interested to get in touch with Julia so that to learn. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you'd like to ask any question to Mara, Heidi, Julia, we're here to shed new light on this product, on fair gold, so that it gets more and more disseminated among manufacturers and consumers. So if you'd like to target your questions to Julia, you may do so. Are there minimum quantities set? No. Actually, you can buy even small quantities. Heidi, are you still there with us? Heidi? Yes, I'm here, of course. We're here amongst the women dealing with gold and jewel, but I believe that you live in a very macho kind of environment. Isn't that so? Yes, actually, I have been working in this industry for many years, and this industry in my company is different. There's a lot of machismo still in my country and in this industry. And I've been working with many men, but the attitude now is kind of difficult. They have a very hands-on approach. I am the only woman amongst so many men, and I find it quite straightforward. It is not such a macho world, and there are many challenges to be grasped. As a woman, certainly, I have to come to terms with many difficulties. Well, probably the main challenge is that of promoting fair gold at 360 degrees. I feel I can voice a piece of advice here. I believe that sustainability is the only way forward. We might discuss about the timing, about the pace, about the direction is one. Sustainability is the option, the only option. Successful companies in many countries are those that invested at an earlier stage in sustainability, both socially and environmentally. If you invest now, you're certainly going to start with a competitive advantage. So if you are not doing so because you're not persuaded, just trust me, this is the only way forward. This is an important leverage, and it's going to be a must in the near future. Well, as a matter of fact, I, for myself, don't see any alternative to fair gold. And I think that anybody who's interested should study the matter, should try and ask information, and consider the option. I'm not stating that all companies should only go for fair gold or with other fair products. Perhaps you can start with just one item with one part of the collection, and that's certainly going to have an impact. So we should try and not having greenwashing. Our consumers are ever more competent, so they can tell whether you are true or not to these principles. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Heidi. Good luck to you all. Good luck to the fair gold miners. Thank you. Thank you all. And the most warm greeting, and we are very pleased to know that our miners' gold is in good hands. I'm sure that they're very pleased to know where the gold that they mine is going to go into the right hands. You know, it takes quite some effort to mine gold, and knowing that that gold is used professionally is very reassuring. Earlier on, they wouldn't know where the gold was ending up, but now, being part of Fairtrade, they know that this gold is going to end up in certified products and that are sold to consumers that acknowledge their work, their contribution, and this is what is most important about fair gold. So I'm very interested also in disseminating with our miners what you do at your end, in that you, again, sell products made with fair gold to consumers that are aware of their efforts, aware of their work, and that support their work. And this certainly can further support miners in their work. Their daily lives are not easy at all. They get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They carry out a hard job throughout the day. They run many risks. They take upon their shoulders a lot. Sometimes they work at over 4,000 meters. And this difficult job is not often adequately rewarded in my country. But with the certification, their work is actually being acknowledged. Thank you very much for your greetings. I would like to thank you very much for having me on board. I was very pleased in being part of this panel, and I was very, very proud to tell you about their work. Thank you very much, Mara. Thank you, Heidi. Any questions you have, Fairtrade is available, so do address all your questions, and they're certainly going to take your questions immediately. Thank you.